Okay, hi everyone. I hope everyone can hear me okay. I'm Divya. I'm a mobile developer with a ticket selling platform called Game Time in San Francisco. I develop on multiple platforms, Android, iOS, and hybrid platforms like React Native. But I think Android will always remain my favorite because I've been doing it for more than 5 years now. Before I start, I want to give a huge shout out to everyone, the organizers, admins, volunteers, and the people who are attending, because I think everyone has been super cooperative and in high spirits, making this first 100% virtual conference a huge success, and it's commendable. So today what I'm going to be talking about is Camera X, which is just an ease of camera utility in your apps. In today's world, there are a wide variety of apps that needs camera support for different sorts of functionalities. For example, few use cases are basic photo previews, capturing, social interaction, aka messaging, Instagram, Twitter, etc. Image processing, which is an entire new world in itself. Scanning, barcodes, documents, photos, filters, special effects, and so many more that I'm sure I haven't even mentioned here. Now, the Camera 2 API, which is part of the Android hardware package, is powerful in itself, but it can be tricky to get the most out of it since different and wide range of devices have their own specific camera capabilities that they offer, which means lots of device specific code just to have a variety of support, focusing on nitty-gritties of tons of boilerplate code, difference in configurations based on aspect ratio, orientation, rotation, preview size, resolution, image size, etc. So to overcome all these problems, we have Camera X. Now going into what is Camera X and why. So as part of the Jetpack library behavioral component, Camera X library allows integrating camera functionality into your Android app with just a few lines of code and easy to use API surface. So internally, it still leverages the capabilities of Camera 2, which is the interface to the native camera device. But all you need to care about as a developer is the use case or the actual task with camera instead of worrying about consistencies across different devices. So it not only gives you backward compatibility support, but also uses a much simpler heuristic use case based approach, which means all you do is focus on the actual task and the library takes care of internally accommodating that use case on the supported device without you having to write any such device specific code. It is more focused on enabling you as a developer to integrate new capabilities and APIs to enable advanced camera features in your app. Also, Camera X has been highly optimized for its performance and size, thus making integration of camera in your app seamless and not frustrating at all. This Camera X library allows you to bind to the lifecycle of the owner, which means no manual intervention needed for managing the lifecycle. Also, as part of the optional add-on extensions, we also get the supported effects like HDR, night mode, etc. So the several basic use cases that already comes with the library and can be easily configured currently are a preview, which as the word itself means, lets you see the image on display before it's captured, along with capabilities like rotate, crop, scale. So all that you need to do code-wise is add a preview view, which is nothing but a custom extended view. The second use case is image analysis, which is a use case that actually gives you a CPU accessible image, which can be passed on to different analysis algorithms like machine learning, facial recognition or any kind of image processing through something called an analyze method. And we'll get into the details of all these use cases in a bit. The third use case is image capture, which is the most obvious use case of capturing high quality images with functionalities like autofocus, exposure, and other basic camera manuals. It also gives the option to choose to provide an in-memory buffer of the image or save the image to a specified file location through something called a take picture method. Also, one thing to note here is that these use cases can be combined with one another and can be run together in one flow. So for example, the basic functionality entails actually previewing the image through image preview, and then using capture image use case to actually click the photo and save it on device. Also, one recommendation when combining use cases is that the concurrent use cases can be bound to the same lifecycle, which ensures that the camera resources are active when necessary and released in an efficient manner, all handled by the library in itself when not needed anymore. So in order to get started with Camera X use cases and demonstrate how you need to write minimal amount of code in order to carry out the actual task, you just need to specify three things. A, configuring the actual use case with its own set and build methods. B, attaching the listeners to specify what to do actually with the output data, and also binding to the owner's lifecycle, which means we as developers, again, don't have to worry about specifying start or stop methods explicitly. It becomes the responsibility of the lifecycle owner to update Camera X, to update its state changes, matching the lifecycle transitions. So for just a small example, to specify the basic use case of image capture, we actually only need this much code to have an image capture pipeline. Basically use the image capture builder method to specify the use case. We can provide additional configuration like set target resolution, capture mode, etc. But even if we don't, the API falls back to the nearest supported resolution on the device it's running, which makes this widely supported on a variety of devices because the same code is running on all of them. Then second, we bind it to the owner's lifecycle by using the bind to lifecycle method. This gives us the flexibility to not worry about the state machines as mentioned, and camera itself opens when needed and released when not needed. And finally, we use this use case specific task, which here becomes the take picture method. And that also has a listener attached to it, which is the on image saved listener, which lets us handle the saved image in any way we want or specify error handling scenarios. Okay, before we get into the actual coding details of each use case and other specifications, let's start with some basic janitorial details about how to get started with using Camera X library in your Android app. I think I've not mentioned this, but Camera X right now is in a beta version, which means it has all the functionalities working. It just might have some bugs, and I'm sure there is a continuous work happening on ensuring that it is production ready. So as far as the requirements go, we need minimum API level to be 21 or higher for using this library. Also, since we need to bind to lifecycle methods, we need Android architecture components to starting from 1.1.1. It is also recommended to use fragment activity or app compact activity since they are by default lifecycle aware activities. And then we need to add basic dependencies to our app's build Gradle file, like Google Maven repository, compile options, and the actual Camera X dependencies. Since we are actually using the camera in our app, it is needless to say that the app needs camera permission. So before any of use cases are launched, we need to ensure the app has the camera or any other necessary permission like external storage for saving the captured photos. So whenever we are implementing or using this library, make sure that you request for permissions first, and only if permissions are available, launch the necessary use case. Okay, so let's start with the first use case, which is of preview. So as I specified before, preview use case is all about viewing the preview of the shot that the camera captures. And we need to set the preview use case first by configuring the preview builder and building it. So hence the build method. And again, we have different configurations available, like set target resolution or set target rotation, that lets you make your use case a lot more specific on supported devices. Apart from building the use case, preview also needs an actual surface to render the frames that are received by the camera. So in order to automatically handle scaling, rotation, translating the preview frames to match the display, library has something called a preview view, which is nothing but a custom view that can be easily attached to the preview use case. So we use the method preview view create surface provider to create a surface provider that you can then pass to the preview use case to start the preview stream. And finally, this preview use case is passed to the camera provider when it's bound to the owner's lifecycle, as indicated by the code here. Talking about the next use case of analyzing the images through this library, this allows you to run any sort of analysis algorithms, image processing, machine learning over the camera images. So similar to the preview use case, we use the image analysis builder to configure the use case and then build it using the build method. And the application implements the analyze method, which is run on frames received from the camera. But here there are additional configurations involved, like the set back pressure strategy, which determines how the images for analysis are actually selected. So the back pressure strategy in itself comes with two modes, the blocking and the non-blocking one. The blocking one is strategy block producer, which means the new frames are blocked from entering the pipeline of the executor until the method returns. That is, the frames are received by the executor sequentially. So if the analyze method, which actually carries out the analysis or the processing, takes longer than the current frame rate, the analysis may not be updated with the latest frames. On the other hand, we have the non-blocking one, which is the strategy keep only latest, in which the analyze method always gets the latest available frame from the camera. So in case of latency, there might be some frames skipped, but only when the frame being analyzed is closed by calling something like image.close, the next latest frame is received and entered for analysis. Then we again come back to the image capture use case, which I explained before. That is for capturing high quality and resolution photos, which automatically provides the functionality of basic camera controls and also other utilities like auto exposure, focus, etc. As with other use cases, so we first configure the image capture use case with the builder and then build it with build method. We also have the option to decide how to use the captured image with the help of the take picture method, which has the option of either providing the in-memory buffer of the captured image or provide a storage file location to store the image to. We can also customize the executors on which the image capture runs, which can be a callback executor in which we can provide our own on image captured callback, or it can be an input-output executor, which can assist with saving the image to a file location. So Camera X is flexible enough to default to an internal IO executor in case executor is absent. We can also configure if we want the captured images to be optimized for latency by setting the capture mode as capture mode minimize latency, or for quality by capture mode maximize quality. Apart from the use cases approach, Camera X also gives you high-level APIs to control the camera directly, and the camera automatically reflects these updated states for all its use cases. For example, Camera X by default supports autofocus, but there might be a use case where we might need the flexibility to control the focus target manually. Now, with the traditional Camera 2 API, this needs a lot more calculations with figuring out the transformations between the UI coordinates and the camera sensor coordinates and calculating the focus area. But with Camera X library, it already comes with these advanced methods or APIs like surface view metering point factory or focus metering action, which automatically does these calculations for us, and you just pass them to the camera control and it itself handles all these calculations. So similarly, to support something like pinch to zoom, Camera 2 API required us to manually figure out the transformation and crop region. But with Camera X library, there is something called a scale gesture detector, which in itself determines the delta value or the scale factor with the user pinch value. And we can use camera control for Camera X to automatically figure out the crop region and send a request to camera. So your pinch to zoom is literally implemented in just a few lines of code. Another example is linear zoom slider. So Camera X comes with its own set linear zoom method, which just takes a slider value and does the necessary zoom transformations on its own. So you can actually implement a linear zoom slider with just one line of code. Now, the best part is also that Camera X follows the principle of automatic selection, which means it automatically provides functionality that is specific to the device that your app is running on. And on top of that, if you didn't provide an attribute or provided an unsupported one, it will gracefully fall back on the nearest best supported one. So we as developers don't have to worry about writing any device-specific code at all. Also, as mentioned before, Camera X also lets you access external effects like HDR night mode that are available on specific devices. So in your app with 2 lines of code, you can query if an extension is available. The extension should be supported by and physically be present on the device. If it is available and supported, it will be enabled, else it will degrade gracefully. And default is always the Camera X implementation. So basically, to apply any of these vendor extensions, all that you need to do is create an extender object as shown in the code here. It lets you configure the builder with the extension setting and then query for the availability of the extension and enable it if available to incorporate any such effects. So here I've just used a basic live demo, which actually runs the preview use case and the capture use case in one flow. And I've also mentioned the GitHub link of there are tons of samples out there on the official Google repository, and also the official documentation for the Camera X library is super helpful for starting with any of the basic use cases and incorporating higher advanced code to your Camera X library. So with that, this was my lightning talk. Thank you so much for listening to me and for being here. And now I'll just go to all the questions. And okay, so the first question that I see is, do you use it in production? So as I mentioned before, the library is currently in beta, which means that the functionality is all production ready, but it still might have bugs. And I'm sure people are still working continuously to improve it. Okay, the next question is, can we analyze specific part of the camera preview with masks or something like this and make text recognition? For example, scanning cars, license plates. I am sure, so for this use case, what I can think is, I'm sure we can use the preview use case and the image analysis use case together in concurrency to incorporate this functionality of scanning car, license plates, etc., which I guess, in my opinion, would involve first previewing the use case and then capturing the license plate and then running some sort of scanning algorithm to actually detect the license plate. The next question is, does Camera X works well on every device, or is there still problems for some devices like for Camera 2? I'm not 100% sure about this one, but I know for a fact that with Camera X, we do have a wide range of device support because of because it's the same code running, and B, Camera X has the capability to degrade gracefully if something on the device is not supported. So I guess it is widely supported on a wide range of devices. What are the trade-offs between using Camera X versus using Intents? I believe with Camera X, you have a lot of flexibility as a developer not to worry about writing any writing any manual lifecycle implementations. And also, I think with Intents, you need to worry about what kind of data or action that you're passing to the intent. But with Camera X has a lot of internal capability to handle everything internally. And all that you need to provide as a developer is basically configurations. And it's a lot more less boilerplate code as well. Also, there is a question which is, does the analysis use case depend on Google Vision or Firebase Vision? I am not 100% sure about this, but I will definitely figure this out and update the documentation or update the slides. And then the last one is it possible to configure the depth of field? I believe it is, but that also depends on how that effect is available on your specific device and if it is supported and physically present on the device or not. Okay, I believe that's all the questions that we have. And I know that there is a direct Slack channel. I am available anytime on Twitter, on Slack, to answer any of your questions, or always up for a technical chat. And thank you so much for listening and for making all of this a huge success. Thank you.